But the whole thing about arcades, like outside of playing Area 51, Terminator, Transformers, Halo, like the shooting games, those games that we talked about, where anything where you get tickets, even skee ball and the basketball games and the all of those, I am just 100% convinced. And the gotchas 100%. I feel that we are like indoctrinating we were indoctrinated and we are indoctrinating our kids to prepare for gambling. Because a casino is the exact same thing as these types of games.
It's all a game of luck.
Like,
I mean, there's a little bit of skill to it and like thought and like percentages and stuff like that, but for the most part, it's just hoping.
yeah, I mean, if you go and play slot machines, which of course I love Vegas, but historically the only thing I played was slot machines. All right, we are back, episode 36. I did almost jack up the counts on the scripts earlier because I was putting all the different episodes for the next several weeks, and this one had the wrong number. But luckily, I've got it right. We're on episode 36 this week.
If I would have known that you did that and then actually caught it, like you didn't catch it,
Yeah,
you'd never
I know. Well, and the reason is, so believe it or not, folks, we mentioned a long time ago that we were going to be doing a GOAT debate episode that would be a quad. And we've actually, and I told you we may have to put it off to like November or something like that, but we've actually secured some time to do it. So it's going to be,
as long as everything works out.
Yeah, knock on wood.
It'll be.
So it'll be coming.
It'll be coming up.
Yeah, that's not today though. First off, of course, I know we're right off the tail end of 4th of July. I don't know about everybody else, but it was hotter than Hades here. But
that it was. We were outside and.
It's awful.
My boys are playing in water, having a great time, and I was just like, let's just go inside now. It's hot.
Yeah, I hope everybody still has the same 5 fingers or 10 fingers and 10 toes that you started with.
Put it in reverse, Terry.
Yeah, right.
Please tell me somebody. That's a nostalgic video that if you haven't seen, you
no, I know. But yeah, hope everybody had a good holiday. We are today for episode 36. Our story mode is going to be one more quarter or swipe. All right, and that's because we are talking about arcades. So back then, hence the quarter aspect, but also now because everything's cards now. Which what? What were you gonna say?
I was gonna say. So we've brought up part of this because like when we get in there, we'll start talking about one of them. But it was during the mall episode.
Yeah.
So
yep.
Like some of these are referenced throughout.
Yeah, so. This is another one of those, like so many other episodes that like little slivers have come up, and then we end up doing a full story mode on it. Same concept.
Yeah.
But yeah, arcades back then, arcades now, kind of that transition to adulthood, and then how they're in bars now. But where this one's going to be a little different too, and this probably would have been an episode that Wayne would have loved to participate in, but also about how arcades kind of prepare the youth for gambling in casinos. So that correlation. But
Wayne has a lot of fun.
Oh, fully aware. Heck, he sent us a text in the group chat the other day that there is now an app for cracking packs, and like it's actual like money involved.
Chase would get himself in trouble with it if he didn't delete it.
I installed it for long enough to get the little referral thing to open one pack, and then I uninstalled it. Like that ease of access.
Yeah,
was
just because we wanted to give Wayne his pack.
Yeah, exactly.
Just to give Wayne his packs.
Yeah, exactly. But our side quest today, we're going to do now loading. Okay, it's our game social media trend thing, which is guess the arcade game in 10 words or less. I really almost didn't do this one because the last time we did that, I performed horribly. I also had to learn what an ascot was because I had no idea. That's when we did that
was pretty bad.
It was. It was like you said ascot. I was like, I know what god ass is, but what's an ascot? I had no idea that was a thing. But yeah, now
and then you felt really dumb once you figured it out.
Oh my god, I did. Like when I found out it was Fred, I couldn't believe it. But yeah, so we're gonna do that. Guess the arcade game in 10 words or less. Then, which neither one of us have prepped for that, so this will be entertaining. Then we're gonna do disc of the day, which is gonna be focused around, since we're talking arcade games and things, it's gonna be focused around like shooting games. Now, we may pivot a little bit away from arcade, but it's specifically like shooting games that we're going to talk about in Disc of the Day.
And the one you have listed is? the main one.
Oh, exactly, 100%. Okay, I think that does it for press start. We got anything else?
Nothing I can think of. Let's get in the story mode.
All right, let's head into our story mode. One more quarter or swipe. All right, so what's really funny is the arcade that came up in our mall episode that I remember. So Aladdin's Castle, which was in Jefferson Mall. It's where H&M is now, and where Willis Music used to be. Is where Aladdin's
I know
Castle.
exactly where it is.
Yeah.
So right as soon as you come in towards the food court.
Exactly, right across from Sample, which Sample wasn't there when Aladdin's Castle was there. But arcades, like,
I really want to know when that got there.
Sample?
Not arcade. Yeah.
When did Sample open? I mean, we can just find out.
Well, that's something you can Google.
Oh, I'm sure. I think it was two. Actually, it may not be that easy to Google.
I was gonna say I didn't think that'd be something you could Google. I feel like they said it was 30 years though, so it might have been like 96.
It sounds about right. I swear to God, if I Google it and they open it, if I find out they opened in 1998, I'll shit a brick. But
no, because I feel like they did something for like recently for 30 years.
Yeah. So, but yeah. But the thing with Aladdin's Castle, now, there were obviously, like, Stranger Things, obviously. Like, they're big on their arcade stuff in the 80s. The thing is, the way arcades were when people would get really, 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 really nostalgic, like with quarters and all that stuff, I don't even really remember a lot of those.
It was always tokens.
They were tokens. And
you would have to go to the token machine, put a $5 bill in it, and then it would spit out tokens.
Exactly.
And then the tokens are what you use. That's what I remember.
Yes.
Now, I don't know how it was for, like, Aladdin's Castle and stuff like that.
Well, I think Aladdin's Castle was tokens, too. But, like, when, like, our parents' generation, refer to that.
It was quarters, yeah.
The arcades, like, in the 80s and stuff, where you had Donkey Kong and Pac-Man and Galaga and Dig Dug in those games, like you see in Stranger Things. It was quarters, where I very much remember. So I didn't, even before you make an old joke, I'll make an old joke myself. But even I didn't have those arcades to play in. It was still tokens, okay, that I had to use.
Well, you don't even have the one that I remember the most. So you spoke Aladdin's Castle is the first one that you really
in J Mall.
The one that I think of the most is simply inside Mr. Gaddy's, over right across from right by the J Mall.
Yeah, so next to where that Office Depot was.
And it was tokens. Yeah, and it was tokens, obviously.
Yeah.
But I remember going there as a kid. I remember we were talking about it. It was funny. Not funny. This is not a funny thing. But so we were talking about NASCAR. Okay.
Yeah.
Me and a couple buddies, and we were talking about when Dale Earnhardt passed when he wrecked.
Oh yeah.
I remember being in that Gaddy's in the sports section, like eating pizza. It was my dad took us out there. It was me, mom, dad, Wayne, and we went out there and we were eating when it happened.
Oh, really? At Gaddy's?
Like, I remember that. Like, I remember because they had it on. Because you remember you would go in and when you ate, they had those big screens.
Yeah, they had the different rooms. They had like the sports room, the kids room,
the
movie room.
My dad was always a big sports fan, so we always sat in the sports room so he could watch what he wanted to watch. So, like, they had the one room that didn't have anything in it. It was just a regular room, and they had the couple that had the big screens in them and stuff like that.
Right, so, right.
We went to the sports room, and I remember that. And then I remember we went and played a few games. But that's the one, I remember that one more than anything. And I remember it switching from tokens, to cards. Which I know we're going to get into a little bit.
Well, yeah. Well, and the thing with it's funny because when we were talking about this episode, you brought up Gaddy's, and I was like, crap, I forgot all about Gaddy's. Because that's the thing. Once Aladdin's Castle closed, which was very early, like I feel like it closed right around when the food court came into J Mall, which, by the way, so as far as when Sample opened, I know it's not related to arcades, but as far as Sample is concerned, apparently J Mall added the food court in 1999. So
was it an original?
So Max Orient opened when the food court opened around 98 or 99. Apparently Max Orient itself celebrated 25 years in 24 and 25, which alludes to around 1999. So, okay, that's fair. I tell you, that's really close to 1998, though. That's funny. and I've been going there
Man,
since
we
they
were talking
opened.
about that. We were talking about sample earlier. Remember
I,
we saw, or yesterday.
yeah, I almost went and got it today when I was at the shop, but I
Well,
didn't.
I'm debating it. I'm debating going. Did you go up there today?
To the shop, yeah, yeah, we did. We did
I
one.
didn't know if they were closed or not.
No, we did one round of Dragon Ball today. So, but so yeah, Gaddy's like that's the thing. Gaddy's is the next one I remembered, which is so funny that or well, Tek World. Tek World actually was the next one I
I don't
remembered.
remember Tech World.
Well,
I remember Gaddy's is the only arcade that I played
well, here's the
in an
thing.
actual arcade.
Well, and here's the thing. I think the reason why you probably don't remember Tek World. So Tek World had two locations. There was one that my young brain kind of sort of is wanting to say.
That's a long time ago.
Shut up. Um, but I think it was in Stony Brook. I'm pretty sure by the movie theater. I did a birthday there, and it was like your textbook. And these were still the arcades that didn't like Gaddy's very much had the ticket machines and all that. Tek World was still like Aladdin's Castle, where it was like just arcade games, like just playing for the games. But they had Hurstbourne, but then they had another location on Preston. So do you know where Southern is on Preston?
Yeah, I know where that's at.
And across the street from Southern, you got Dairy Delight.
There's that Chinese restaurant across the street from the Southern.
What?
There's a Rally's right there, and there's like a Chinese restaurant back in the back.
Yeah, so that shopping center is where Tek World used to be. But I never went to that one, and if I remember correctly, it very much went away from an arcade and became like a music venue. Like a lot of bands played there, like in that era where I was doing the local music stuff.
Well,
and it became kind of a hangout for anybody who listens who's like, I went to Tek World, I wasn't a problem child. But that's just what I was told by a lot of people. There's a lot of problem people hung out up there. Not to say if you went, you were a problem, but
I do remember. But I do remember playing a lot of those Walmarts for a long time. Had them right at the entrance.
yes,
Where you could play Pac-Man or you could play. They usually had Pac-Man, Galaga. A lot of them had Miss Pac-Man.
yeah,
The crane machines.
Oh,
They had like a little, not a lot, but like each entrance had like one entrance would have like Pac-Man and crane machine and or something like that, and the other entrance would have like Galaga and another crane machine.
yeah.
Or they had the ones that's like where it's the key and you had to put the key in the hole
Right.
to knock something down.
Knock something down. Oh, yeah. That's
Yeah.
stuff. Well, and that's the thing. Those kinds of games, like where you get prizes or you get, which obviously at Walmart it was getting prizes, but like at Gaddy's where you would get tickets and stuff like that obviously became the norm for those types of places.
And it became like that's the thing too. Like an arcade, true arcade, you would get tickets and stuff like that. And if a game didn't get you tickets, you probably weren't playing it very often.
Right. Well, and I will say it took me a long time to transition because I would go and just play the games. Like I'd play the shooting games, I'd play the fighting games, and then eventually, and we'll get to the why, but this is exactly why arcades kind of prep kids for gambling. Because yes, you're right. Despite the gamers that we are, we play the goofy ass ticket getting games.
The ones that spin or the ones that you pull the lever and it's a
yes, so it kind of preps you for gambling. But they, and Gaddy's obviously had all that. But then you also had, and we've talked about both of these a little bit, or well, I thought we talked about the second one, but you all never went. But the skating rinks in Louisville. You had Skate World.
I went to Skate World a couple of times with like buddies or like for like a party, but I didn't go a lot.
Yeah, because I assumed you all went to Robin's Roost because that was in Bullitt County.
No, is that the?
That's the one that's apparently getting ready to close down. Actually,
I was about to say that. I've read that the owners are selling it and they don't have anybody that wants to run it or something.
Yeah. Well, basically they have people interested in the building, but they don't want to run it as a skating rink.
And just like there's whose was it? J-Town Police Department.
I was going to say who's the old one now? You couldn't remember what you were saying?
J-Town's old police department was a skating rink from J-Town.
What?
It was
right up
World.
here. No, skate. Well, I mean,
not Skate World. It was Skaterama.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
I think.
Yeah,
Skate World's the one on Dixie, right?
Preston. It's on Preston.
What's the one on Dixie?
I have no idea.
I remember the one on Dixie as well. That was pretty
Because
fun.
the one that the Skate World on Preston is like when you're going down Preston, you go past Fern Valley, and then it's on the left, like just past
And
Sam's
the
and
other
all
one
that.
that's not
I
that
think
you don't have on here, Champs is another skating ring.
now
That
now that one was closer to Oldham County, wasn't it?
no, it's in
Or is that in Bullitt
Linden.
County too? Oh, it's in Linden. Okay, gotcha. But
So,
well,
but well, what I was gonna say is, so that's one way that people used to play arcades. They obviously didn't really have like the tickets things and stuff like that. That was more just playing it to play it.
right.
Um, there's two other ones that I remember that are not on here that I remember as like an arcade type scenario. Bowling alleys.
Yep. Yep.
So I used to go to when I used to go to Kinball. I remember playing. We'd bowl a little bit, then play a little bit in the arcade.
I don't know where that one was.
Right, it's literally off Southside, like right in Third Street and Southside
Oh,
area.
gotcha. Okay. See, I remember Strike and Spare by the shop, and then Rose Bowl on Beulah Church.
Yeah, and I think Strike and Spare closed.
Yeah, they tore the building down. It's empty.
Yeah,
See, the skating rinks, though, before I lose the thought, before we move past skating rinks, I think I've mentioned the story before, but I was forced to go to the skating rink when my sister would go. I didn't know how to skate, so I would just play the arcade games. That was the first place that I ever played Rampage. And obviously, we've talked about the movie, of course, but that was the first time that I ever played Rampage was in an arcade. And it was also the only place I was able to play Mortal Kombat aside from Quentin's house because mom didn't let me have it because of the blood and the gore at the time.
yeah.
But that was like, and when Rampage released on the N64, like I was super fired up because I played the crap out of it at Skate World. And they forced you to put skates on, which like stressed me the hell out because I didn't know how to skate. So I would just like, you had the rubber stoppers, so I would like just tippy toe my way over to the arcade cabinets and just play Rampage and Mortal Kombat. And then, of course, pinball machines too.
Well, um, and I want to bring up movie theaters because most movie theaters they've dumbed them way down. They're nowhere near as big as they were. But I remember precisely Preston. Preston used to have there was like three or
Oh,
four
yeah.
guys, but you would go in and they would have their gallons of water playing DDR.
Dude, hey,
So,
movie
and
theater
I remember,
DDR.
and they were like drenched, like going hard at it, like. And dude,
No,
I remember that like specifically.
The DDR folks that like were serious. The thing is, they were very serious, but also I'm with you. The experiences that I have personally playing DDR, nope, that's not true because I remember having the mats for PS2 and playing them at Quentin's. But most of the memories I have playing DDR are at a movie theater. Or watching people play DDR is at a movie theater.
Yeah.
It wasn't like
I
at
remember
a
seeing
Gaddy's or
people
anything
at a
like
movie
that.
theater and stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah, and you mentioned it already, but the WalMarts had them and stuff like that. But those the claw machines, the like little gacha
Well,
machines and stuff that Walmart's always have. Now these aren't necessarily games per se, but I will say what's really funny, and I've never actually Googled and confirmed the research and all this jazz. But like I remember, of course, we all do as kids going into a Walmart or whatever. You have the machine, you put a quarter in it, and then you get the little plastic container, and it has like
yeah.
a toy or a figure or a
Those are
sticker.
technically gacha machines.
Well, that's the thing. I didn't know anything about the Japanese gacha machines that I'm very familiar with now until like I've met you all and I'm an adult kind of thing. I didn't really realize that the Americanized version of that, like that's what we experienced as a
Was
kid.
the
And I didn't know that. Like I never and
Yeah.
and what made me real
some of them were 50 cents and they would be a little bit of a better item and stuff like that.
well, and honestly, what made me realize it at the shop, Jacob has a couple of those very old machines, and it literally says "Gotcha" on it, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, I didn't realize that." It's the same exact thing, same concept. I just never
So,
understood that.
well, and that's actually like a perfect transition basically into the new school stuff.
Oh yeah,
So gachas now, like we'll just start with gachas because we were just talking about them. You can physically play a gacha machine in Japan right now, like just on your phone.
yes, and I've done it.
Yeah,
Like
and like if you get something, they'll ship it to you. You put your information and they ship it to you.
two of the statues that I used to have, I had gotten from that. I forgot the name of the app.
There's a bunch of them. There's so many of them now. If you just
Toriba.
Google Japanese, if you just Google or get on the App Store and type in Japanese gacha, it'll come up, and there's 100 of them.
Yeah.
Which there's even one now. Do you know about the Clawcade over off of right up the street from the shop?
So yeah, it's right by the old neighborhood, right there in Outer Loop and Old
Mhm.
Cheb. I haven't been there yet. Um,
Wayne went right after it opened
yeah,
and really enjoyed it.
yeah,
Um,
and I suck at those claw games like really bad. But I want to check it out. Like there is just something in general. There was a feeling and a vibe of going to arcades back then, just like there is a feeling and there is a vibe now of going to those, and that's why I'd like to check out the claw places. I just haven't yet.
yeah.
Um, but yeah, the new school now. So old school. Like I say, you go super old school with Aladdin's Castle, but then Gaddy's and Tek World and the skating rinks and all those places. But now, and it's funny because I feel like it's basically these places exist because we grew up. Like that's why I feel like these places
Yeah.
exist because you've got Dave and Buster's. That's kind of the mainstream, like
Main
adult arcade, if you will.
Yeah. Well, it's a sit down restaurant, because actually a lot of the Gaddies now are gone for the arcades. There's
Yeah.
still Gaddies around, but none of them have the arcades anymore.
Yeah, and I'm so glad that you brought up Gaddy's too, and told the Dale Earnhardt story because my brain immediately can remember that full layout of Gaddy's when you walk
Yep, you
in.
go into the sports room was to the right. As
Yep.
soon as you walk in, it was the right into the first room.
Yeah.
And I think the back corner was the movie room.
Yeah,
And then when you went to the left, that's the one that was just a basic sitting room.
Yes, and then to go back to the arcade, you kind of went through like a tunnel or a
And it
long
was dark.
hallway, and it was dark
And it
as
got
hell.
real dark back there.
Yeah. So, but yeah, Dave and Buster's is the main one, and I like it took Louisville
Well,
forever to get a Dave and Buster's. Like,
well, and the thing now about arcades then were you paid and you'd put a card with so much money on them. Now there's literally I know Main Event does it. I don't know if Dave and Buster's does, but you can buy a card and it's unlimited play through the entire thing for any of them of a certain color.
yeah, and it's usually like the regular games, like the shooting
Yeah,
games.
but it's like, but you can literally sit there and play it over and over and over and over and over and over and over again.
Yes. Well, and so Dave and Buster's, like, we didn't get one in Louisville. It's in St. Matthews Mall. We didn't get one in Louisville for a while. Like, it was shortly before I moved, back in like 2016, 2017
Yeah.
is I think when we got it. But my first Dave and Buster's experience, because I assume yours wasn't in Louisville. My first one was in Nashville. And
Mine was in Louisville.
really, oh man, yeah. See,
I never went because there was one in Indiana and I never went.
yeah, up in Indianapolis in the mall up there. But no, I went to the Dave and Buster's in Nashville in Opry Mills Mall. First off, Opry Mills Mall is my favorite mall ever of every mall I've been to. Now, I haven't been to Mall of America in Minneapolis, which I'm assuming that would become my favorite mall. But Opry Mills, I absolutely love it. But when I went to Dave and Buster's, I had no idea like a place like that existed. Like, frankly, I hadn't gone to any arcade outside of like Gaddy's until I went to Dave and Buster's, and I was flabbergasted. And we went down there, and then the whole thing. I don't know if they still do it, but like at 10 p.m., you have to be 18 to stay in there because yeah, like you said, they've got a
I
restaurant.
don't know. Well, they have to because the whole mall you have to be at 18 now.
Oh yeah,
After a certain point.
true. So, but even in Nashville, this is well before mall guidelines. But
and-
I always, and I know what you're going to say when I say this, but I was probably 13, 14 whenever I went down there with Biggin. I've always looked older than my age. Hush, I already know. But I didn't get kicked out or anything after 10 because I always looked older. So they just assumed I was 18 years old. So we would always stay super late and just play a shitload of games.
Another one you don't have on here, Malibu Jacks.
See, I've never been to Malibu Jacks.
But it's still a new age like Dave and Buster's almost.
Is
we
it?
did Wayne did
See, I thought it was more
his
like
son's
a
birthday
like a Sky
over there.
Zone or something. Like it had
No,
activities
so there's like
and stuff.
there is an activity area, but it's still a huge arcade.
Gotcha. See, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That's in the old Walmart, right? On Hurstbourne?
Yes. I think there's more than one, but that's the only one I can think of.
Yeah. No, but apparently Dave and Buster's in Louisville, so I didn't realize that was your first experience. But apparently, my first time going to that one was really bad. Half their games didn't work. We had to wait an hour and a half for our food. But apparently, they have like improved exponentially.
Service has been bad there multiple times that I've been.
Yeah, so that's why I've never. My sister was telling me we need to go to Dave and Buster's, St. Matthews. And I was like, I had a bad experience, so I couldn't help it. So I just haven't gone back. Um,
Main event's dope though.
exactly, and that I think we're both probably biased
Main
because
event's one of them.
it's
Main
two
event's one of them
seconds
that I.
from here.
Yeah, but main event's one of them that is the what I was telling you, where like they're all color coded, so you can buy a card that allows you to play the games that are it's like blue or whatever, and you can buy an unlimited play, and it's all of those blue.
Well, and that's the thing. These games that they have now, like I very much remember, like back in the day, it was all kind of the same games that you would see, the same pinball machines, the same shooting games, Area 51, Terminator, da 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 da. Now, like when I was in main event recently, because we've talked, William loves going in there and hopping around and looking at the games and stuff. I mean, the shooting game variety they have now, you've got the Jurassic Park, you've got the Transformers, they've got a Luigi's Mansion game. And then
Halo,
the Fire Team Raven, I think it's called, which is awesome.
yeah,
They've got the up there. I sent you the picture. Obviously, they've got the Maverick game that has the plane that moves and stuff like
yep.
that. I mean, it like those games, like the non-ticket games, are like just insane. Like I have been meaning to go to main event just to play.
Well,
and
and
I
that's what
haven't
they
yet.
do is all the ones that are free are the non-ticket games.
Yeah, which completely makes sense. Like, and I am completely okay with. Like, that's where I need to take advantage of some of those things like you're talking about, where you get the card, and the thing is too. I don't know when. I can't remember when we transitioned from tokens to cards, but I mean it makes sense. I mean, 100%.
Well, and I also the other thing too. I remember whenever they transitioned from tokens to cards. I remember Gaddy's doing it the most because then you didn't have to carry tickets because they started keeping them on the card.
Well, because I can remember when, like, I feel like the ticket stuff went through different evolutions. We had where they put them in a bucket and weighed them, and then you had the machines that counted them and put the value on a card. And then it just went all digital with no more tickets. Like there was very obviously a grow and a transition. But yeah, I forgot about Malibu Jacks. But so you've got Dave and Buster's, you got Main Event, you got Malibu Jacks. I feel like depending on where you are listening to this, like everyone in Louisville obviously hears us talk about these different geographic locations and areas, and you're like, oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. But if you live somewhere else, you may have these same chains, or you may have something totally different. Because I know that there are different things that exist in different areas and stuff like that. I'm going to tell you though, one thing that just popped up in my head, and it's local specific. But when I moved back a year ago, I immediately, one of the first things I did was like I was going to go to this place and I was going to let you know and let Howie know and let Wayne know. I was like, we need to make plans to go do this. And I was so upset when I Googled it and saw that it closed. But Laser Blaze in St. Matthews.
Oh yeah, that was back in the day. I remember doing that.
Dude, because Laser Blaze, I had no idea they closed, so I was super bummed when I found out. And because Main Event has laser tag, and I've done it there, but Laser Blaze,
It's not the same.
for one, they had arcade games as well. So when I said I remember Gaddy's, I also remember Laser Blaze because we did a lot of birthday stuff there. But their layout, their guns and the setup were like perfect. Like a Main Event, every time I've gone, like the way you have to hold it and stuff gets all weird and it won't detect and you can't shoot and but Laser Blaze was absolutely fire. I was so upset whenever they closed. Do you know what's over there now?
That's not where they. No, but I know that Paintball Asylum at one point had a laser area.
Really?
Yeah.
Now I didn't know that. I've never done the paintball stuff, but then, of course, you brought up the claw place. Those claw places are popping up everywhere. I was in Lexington a few days ago, and they have a claw store inside the mall. And, and that's the thing. the claw games, the tickets and the prizes and things that you can get. Like, did you ever save up like an absolutely absurd amount of tickets or credits and get something just absolutely
No, I
insane?
always just spent it there because I didn't know when I would go back because we would go, but we didn't go that much. So like,
So Dave and Buster's in Nashville. It got to be a point where I went basically every time Biggin was off the boat, and so I saved my tickets for a long time, and I wound up getting. And anyone who knows how I can't remember the exact cost of these, but I did wound up getting like 2 video games from a Dave and Buster's, like a PS3 or 360 game from there. And then Biggin's wife really wanted like this massive like gorilla thing that was a massive amount of tickets. And what was funny, I used all my credits to get my 2 games. Well, I had like mastered. Now I know you'll know what I'm talking about. So it's the arcade game where it starts. It's blocks going back and forth,
yeah.
and it stops, and then the next row goes back and forth, and you have to try and stop it, and you got to keep stacking it. And then up at the top, you have the small prize area, and then you keep going. You have the big prize area. I basically like hacked the game, basically, and I was winning every single time the big prize, which the value was like 1,000 tickets or something crazy. So I literally used every bit of credits that I had and just played that game repeatedly. And I wound up with, it was like 50,000 credits or something. It was enough to get that gorilla. And it was just because of playing that game over and over.
You know somewhere else that we don't have on here?
Uh-oh.
Kart Country.
Oh, man, and that's y'all's neck of the woods.
Kart Country, because you would have the go-kart track, and then you would have they had a pretty decent arcade inside, too.
That's true. And, that's the thing. Outside of the old stuff that were just arcades, everything grew into arcades inside of other things. Because
that's where we started going the most, because...
Well, it's right by the house.
It would be closer, so whenever Wayne would start driving and we want to do something, we'd go over there and spend $20-$30.
Because, Kart Country, of course, has the go-karts. They have the arcade. But don't they have, like, putt-putt and, like, bumper boats?
Yes.
And, like, all kinds of stuff.
Yep.
Yeah, okay. So, I forgot all about that. So, a lot of the things now, it's not just arcades. It's not like the 80s or the 90s anymore. Now, every arcade is inside of something else.
So...
And then, now Dave and Buster's main event, those places, they have food, they do drinks.
Ain't nothing like ones we're getting ready to talk about.
Ain't nothing like some of the other ones, because these, so locally, you've got Rec Bar.
There's 2 of them.
Yeah,
there's 2 Rec Bars.
There's J-Town and the New Albany. And I've been to the one in New Albany.
Oh, dude, the one in J-Town I've been to, I can't tell you how many times.
I need to check it out, but my understanding, at least because New Albany, like, it's very much a bar. Like, it very much feels like a sports bar. And they
have a couple drinks.
Yeah, and they do have, like, the very old classic arcade games. The Donkey Kong, the Dig Dugs,
but
the
you
Galagas.
still have to, it's still tokens. It's not cards, yeah.
Right.
But, we went over before. Now, the problem is now, like, these arcades that they have, they are the older arcades, but... when one goes down, it's down for a long time because it's so hard to get the parts to fix it and stuff like that.
Right.
But the food at these places now is just fantastic. So, like, Rec Bar's entire menu is based off of, like, shows and games and stuff like that. Like, one of their drinks, like, they have nachos, or they have tachos. So it's basically tater tots.
Yeah.
But it's, like, one of them is...
Oh, but it's got, like, the meat and the cheese and all that. Like,
it's called the Cowabunga something or something like that. And it's, like, it's literally tater tots with cheese, pepperoni, like, bacon and banana peppers.
Dude, well, minus banana peppers. See, I need to go up
I take the banana peppers out all the time.
Yeah.
So there's those. There's chicken bacon tachos.
Man, see, and that's my kind of food. I'm sure I couldn't eat the quantity based on the way I eat these days, but...
Well, and then some of their they have burgers. Like, they have one that's, I don't remember what the name of it is, but it has, like, mac and cheese and stuff on it. Oh, it's so good.
Dude, a burger and mac and cheese is, like, a perfect combination.
So, and then they have, like, all their drinks are based off of them. So, like, one of them's, like, the Sub-Zero is what it's called. It's delicious. There's one called Peach's Paradise.
Well,
One's like Yoshi's Return or something like that.
well, do they have? I mean, you talk about the Cowabunga thing. Like, do they have? Do you know if they have like Turtles in Time up there,
They
like
do.
the 4-player co-op one and
Yep.
stuff? Oh, see, I just need to go up there, and I haven't.
Me and my buddy went up there one day and we were playing. This was not that long ago. Um, well, I mean, I guess it was. It's probably about over a year ago because we didn't have uh, Sebastian yet. But we we spent probably $10 to $12 to beating one of the games
Oh, dude. Well, see,
because we would just keep
continue,
going after we
continue.
died.
Yeah. No, that's the thing. I don't know if I've ever beaten any of those arcade games except for Turtles in Time. Like I know I've beaten Turtles in Time, but other than that, I don't know if I ever took the time or the money to beat any of the other ones. I may have
Well,
beat.
now we have adult money and we just kind of do dumb stuff.
That's
So
true. I may have beaten Area 51. Now that I'm thinking about it, I feel like that's the one shooter that I beat. But yeah, Rec Bar. They've got two locations here in town. But I went to one of my solo trip to New York. I looked up. I had heard about a couple different places. Now I did the typical touristy thing. I stayed in Times Square. I did a lot of things while I was in New York, as far as places and touristy things,
sightseeing and going and stuff
sightseeing.
like that.
But I looked up some like very specific video game things. Like, of course, I went to Nintendo New York. I went to Video Games New York, which if you've never looked that place up, you need to Google it. That's where I think I told you all the story, but Video Games New York is where the person there, or well, I saw it on the shelf. They had the Gunmetal Gray Metal Gear Solid 4 limited edition PlayStation 3 in a glass case with Kojima's signature. I looked at the guy and I was like, "Is that for sale?" Like I was fully prepared to just throw it on a credit card, like 100%. Now I look at myself now. I'm glad I didn't because I would have sold it. But
No,
it,
you wouldn't have. You would have still kept that one.
but it wasn't for sale. It was his personal. Like he personally had met Kojima, and
Isn't
Kojima had
that
signed it.
too? Is New York Times Square the one that has the GameStop that's like 3 floors and each floor is like a different game, like different?
So
Uh,
it's not 3 floors. It's 2 floors. What was the outfit they bought? They were like a green and white logo. Game Freak
Game Frenzy or Game something?
no Geek Think Geek.
Oh, Think Geek.
Yeah, so they had Think Geek basically downstairs and then GameStop upstairs. But video
So
but Video Games New York is not related to GameStop at all. It is a
No, I know.
It is a specific like staple in New York. And
well,
it's
I
not
feel like
in
I
Times
was told
Square.
somewhere. Like I remember when I first started, they were talking about it. There was at one point a GameStop whenever physical games were like going, and it was like GameStop
yeah.
style. And it really did. It was a 2-story, and it was like one store was half PlayStation, half Xbox, and the bottom floor was all Nintendo or something of that effect.
It probably so before they bought ThinkGeek, that's probably what it was. But when I went, it had all like their collectibles and stuff downstairs, and then all their games were upstairs.
Yeah,
But
which would make sense because that's when they were making the shift towards like collectibles.
exactly. But I went to a place called Barcade, and I looked it up, and it was not close to where I was in Times Square. I had to take a subway somewhere, and I went at nighttime. I remember telling because I was on a trip by myself, so I was having to like let mom know where I was. This before Life 360 and all that jazz. And when I told her, I said, "Yeah, I'm going to." I told her where I was going, and it was like 10 o'clock at night. And she's like, "It's probably not a good idea." I'm like, "I'll be fine, no worries." And frankly, I enjoyed the hell out of it. Like I felt like I really kind of got to soak everything in at that point, instead of being in the touristy areas. But it was straight up a bar, like 100%. And if anyone who knows me knows I don't really go to bars, but it was the same thing, just kind of like Rec Bar here. All the classics, Mortal Kombat, Street Fighter, all your different fighting games, all the different co-op. So Turtles in Time, the X-Men co-op 4-player, the Simpsons 4-player beat 'em up. They had that. Rampage, and then Donkey Kong, Pac-Man, Galaga. And man, I ended up being there for way longer than I intended, just because, like, from an '80s vibe perspective, that was probably the closest that I ever, like, even thinking of Aladdin's Castle. Going to Barcade is probably the closest that I felt to like an '80s vibe, and maybe it was just because of the decor and stuff like that. But it was awesome. Like it had such a great time. And then
Well, I wanted We were gonna talk. We were talking about the one. There's one in Vegas because we go to Vegas pretty much every year.
Yeah, and I remember
There's
it came
one.
up.
Yeah, the player one one. Like we didn't end up going because it was kind of pretty far off the strip. It was. I wish like it would be cool, but it's like Rec Bar, but it's like a bigger stage because like all
It's
the
Vegas.
employees like cosplay all the time and stuff
See,
like that.
that's so cool. No, now I did really want to go to One Up Arcades. So those are the arcade cabinets that you can just go to Best Buy and buy now.
Yeah.
Which I had the Turtles in Time and the Marvel one, but they have a One Up Arcade. They have a couple of them in Denver, and I went to Denver on a work trip, and I was so excited to go to this One Up Arcade. I walked like 4 miles from the hotel. They were like, dude, take a cab, take an Uber. I'm like, nah, I like walking, it's fine. And so I walked all the way over there. And when I got there, I noticed all the lights and stuff were off. I was like, what in the world? They had a sign on the door. They had like a power outage, and they had to just completely close. And I was like, oh my gosh. And then I pulled up the other location, and it was basically like 4 miles the other way, so 8 miles from where I was. And I was like, yeah, I'm not doing that. So I just walked back to the hotel. But from what I had seen online, it very much was like a barcade, like in New York. It was just very like one up centric.
Yeah.
But but the whole thing about arcades, like outside of playing Area 51, Terminator, Transformers, Halo, like the shooting games, those games that we talked about, where anything where you get tickets, even skee ball and the basketball games and the all of those, I am just 100% convinced. And the gotchas 100%. I feel that we are like indoctrinating we were indoctrinated, and we are indoctrinating our kids to prepare for gambling. Because a casino is the exact same thing as these types of games.
Solid game of luck.
Like
I mean, there's a little bit of skill to it and like thought and like percentages and stuff like that, but for the most part, it's just hoping.
yeah, I mean, if you go and play slot machines, which of course I love Vegas, but historically the only thing I played was slot machines. And I know Wayne used to give me shit for it, but that's all I'd play. And it literally is just like playing an arcade game, except
Wayne plays slots now. I have a buddy that won 14 grand on a slot machine.
well, and that's the thing. The reason why I did a lot of slots is I notoriously would win thousands of dollars on slots. Like I just had a lot of good luck with slots. So, and I didn't want to have to figure out other games or anything like that. But some of these slot machine games are way sophisticated. Like the idea, okay, so slot machine. The idea that you do the slot machine thing, you get the 3 little free game thing, and then now you get a bunch of free games, or you have another mini game to play, or whatever. Dude, you can go to the arcade and play one of those games where you got to flick the quarter or flick the ball somewhere, and if it goes in the smallest hole, then you get another mini game to do more stuff. I mean,
Yeah.
it is a direct correlation. Like arcades. I'm not saying arcades need to go away. That's the last thing that I'm saying, like at all. But it's like if kids are growing up and are already like have addictive personalities, they need to avoid casinos like the plague. Because, and I mean, it's not just slot machines. I mean, even the other games, blackjack and roulette and
Well,
all of that stuff.
yeah, the one that got now it's internet and getting it in your hand is the worst thing that could have ever happened because now like when Kentucky made it to where you can bet on sports and like you can start getting all the FanDuels and stuff like that, but that's not what got me. What got me is when you could start betting on video games,
The esports stuff.
and video games championships. I'll have a bet in. They played 11 tonight. I'll put my bet in probably in the next 40 minutes after we're done. I'll look at some stuff and see what I want to put in.
Is it the COD stuff?
No, it's League of Legends right now.
Oh, gotcha.
We watch League of Legends pretty heavy. Like we watch League of Legends
Well, and I mean,
a lot.
but the thing is, it truly is like any of these games or the things on your phone, and that's the thing. You can get those arcade games that we've just talked about. The claw, and the gotchas we talked about. You can get on your phone, and then all this gambling stuff, all the sports betting, and the esports betting. We just mentioned about there's one for cracking packs that's actual money.
It's crazy.
The horse racing stuff. I mean, all of these things essentially just kind of
Twin Spires is one which if
I
knows
only
anything
touch
about
it
Louisville,
Derby. Yeah.
if anybody knows anything about Louisville, the first thing that most people think of when they think Louisville is the Kentucky Derby because that's what we're known for. Like let's be honest, like that is what we're known for.
Followed by bourbon usually.
It's all about bourbon and Derby.
Yep, bourbon and horse racing. But yeah, the whole thing is that arcade. Like I even though I'm older than you, I didn't get to experience arcades in what I have heard is like the peak era of arcades because I feel like Aladdin's Castle was the last of that era and it went away pretty quick from what I remember. But we were still able to experience them in Gaddy's and in Tek World and at the skating rinks and all that stuff. And then now we're like, that's the thing. I feel like the places that were Tek World and Gaddy's and all that became Dave & Buster's, became Main Event because like we grew up, but we're all still big kids at heart. So they make these game places. I can't imagine our parents being like going to arcades like the way we go to arcades. But then essentially the people our age who are not going to arcades, they go to casinos, and that's the exact same thing as going to an arcade. So, but
I can spend a lot less at an arcade than I can at a casino. Let me tell you.
Exactly. I can go. I can get $30 worth of
Vegas every year, and I tell you, like.
Yeah, I get
it gets expensive.
I get $30, like on a card at Main Event, which I haven't done yet. But and I could play games for an hour and a half, 2 hours. $30 would last me about 30 seconds in Vegas, if that.
Hey, go put $30 on black.
Yeah, there you go. 2 seconds later, broke. So, but that will do it for our story mode. Let's go ahead and jump into our first side quest. Now loading. So, like I said, this one is probably going to go poorly because I know I haven't particularly planned. I kind of sort of have, just mentally, as we've been talking. But the last time I sucked. So I am not going to be guessing first. Like, I'm going to give you clues first because I know I'm just going to do horrible at this. And I already have one in mind. I don't know if you already have one or no.
I was just going to kind of wing it.
Oh, fair enough. But yeah, so the whole thing is I'm going to one at a time give Austin words that are clues to an arcade game. The goal is for him to guess which arcade game it is in 10 words or less. And then he's going to do the same for me. He will likely do very well and get this very quickly. I'm going to sound like a dumbass, I have no doubt. So we'll just see how it goes. Okay. Are you ready?
Yeah.
All right. So the first clue that I'm going to give you is...
Before we start, real quick.
Okay.
Last time you did this, you were trying to give me a synonym of a word. Let's not do that.
Well, that was something.
Because you tried to give me God of War, and you tried to give me...
That was a different game.
Well, you're bad at all of them, so I just
I know. This one, no. I give you a word, and then you can make a guess, or I keep going. All right. Skyline.
Rampage?
No. All right.
Okay.
Your next word is river.
Okay, keep going.
All right. Your next one is green. I have to be really careful because some of the words I could give you would make it super obvious. I got to save those for later.
So skyline, river, and green.
Mm-hmm.
Is it Turtles in Time?
I hate you. Yes, it's Turtles in Time. Man.
Because skyline jumping across. The river one didn't get me, but you said green, so I thought turtles.
Yeah, well, you've got that level, and it's not really a river; it's a sewer. I was trying, but if I said sewer, I'd give it away immediately. But you've got where you're on the boards and stuff.
Yeah.
and green because of the ooze, and then I was gonna evolve into some of the super obvious ones, like because as soon as I say
So
turtle,
3 words.
yeah. See, it's gonna take me. I'm not even gonna get it in 10, whatever you give me, because I suck at these. But I didn't want to use the keep or cut for this episode because we're using that for the next one.
All right. Well,
And it can be old or new. Obviously, I picked Turtles in Time because I love it. But
all right. This
there's a long pause.
because I'm trying to think. Okay, so here's what I'm going to do.
Okay.
All right. Your first word is quarters.
Okay. I think I know where you're going with this, but okay.
Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
You get me?
I think so.
Okay. Space.
Yep, you lost me already. I thought you were going the direction of that documentary, and I was like, oh, this will be easy. But now you said space, so I don't know. All right, continue.
Lives.
Man, I get these both mixed up. Is it Space Invaders?
Well, one of my words was space, Chase. So how can it be Space Invaders?
Oh, that's a good point. All right, never mind. All right, go ahead. Go ahead with another one. See, I know.
Aliens.
Okay, is it Missile Command? No, you're giving me a look, so obviously not.
All right, so
quarter.
I'm gonna use 2 words on this one.
Okay.
Extra ship.
Galaga?
There we go. You got it.
Yeah. All right. Well, so Space Invaders
Quarters puts you in the right era.
Yeah.
Because you used quarters, not tokens.
Right.
Because it was one of the originals.
Well, see, I thought when you said quarters, I thought you were going to go Donkey Kong. Because that documentary...
That would have been too easy. That would have been too easy if we did that.
What was that? Fistful of quarters, right? Or Fistful of dollars or something? Oh, that's a Clint Eastwood movie.
Yeah, I think it was something quarters, but I don't remember what it was.
Yeah.
But no.
Hey,
if I was going to do that...
I got it in less than 10.
That's surprising. You didn't get it in 3.
That's true. But hey, I got it, though. That's all that matters.
You know what? That's a move in the right direction.
It's true. It's an improvement over last time. So...
yeah, because like everything, if you think about it, like you're in space, the lives is because there's only 3 lives at the start of it.
Yep.
Extra ships is from where you can hit
the things that yeah. Okay, no, that's fair. I give you that. All right, well,
everything made sense to get there.
It did. So I just had a lapse.
You gave me
judgment.
river and you meant sewer.
What? Man, all right, whatever. All right, let's go ahead. Let's go ahead and jump into our second side quest.
Well, it's true. That's why you're laughing.
We're gonna jump into our second side quest, which is Disc of the Day. All right, so Disc of the Day.
So I was gonna use this.
Yeah,
but
because you knew we were gonna go into it.
Have a whole segment on it.
Well, I feel like every time, the idea of this segment, Disc of the Day, I feel like most of the time the things we talk about aren't even on discs. And especially, like, now today we're going to talk, because we talked arcades, so we're going to talk shooting games. Now, we're not talking competitive and all that, because we could go COD, Halo. We're not doing that.
We are talking about the one that everyone knows. And I was trying to look it up.
Well,
but do you remember...
Go ahead.
The video, there's a video of a guy, and he has the double leather holsters, and he's playing this, and he's switching between machine, and he's...
Yeah, and he was actually, like, ducking under the things whenever...
And he was popping back up and coming back up.
So, before we say the title, okay, I remember playing Area 51. You had the Police Academy Simulator. You had Terminator. You had... there was just a bunch, and they had just the very generic light guns, or whatever. When this game came out, and we were talking about Time Crisis, when Time Crisis came out, I remember playing that at Gaddy's the first time. Dude, the fact that their guns, when you pulled the trigger, the slide flipped back,
Yeah.
was the coolest thing that I remember experiencing.
It was the first one that I can think of that felt like a actual, like, this is the thing. So the first arcade shooter is probably Duck Hunt, because that was in almost every arcade, like back in the day. Or not Duck Hunt, Big Buck Hunter or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
Where it was more like you just had a generic shotgun and you would aim, shoot, whatever.
Yeah.
But the Time Crisis as a game, and that's what we were referencing. There's a video, and I can't find it. I tried to find it a minute ago. I couldn't find it for some reason. This guy is so into Time Crisis where he was using, because there's levers and there's feet,
With your feet.
a foot pedal.
Yep.
There's a foot pedal, and you would hit the foot pedal, and that's how you would come up and down, like you'd be in
In
cover, and that's how you
cover and-
reloaded and everything. So he would use where he was using both machines because it was a 2-player co-op game, and he would, when he would come up on one, he'd go down on the other, and he would
Dude,
play the game on both of them. Dude, that it was. I remember that video.
And I remember trying to do that and failing miserably. But it was such a cool mechanic because these are your rail shooters. You don't have to move your character, like it moves for you, and you just have to shoot. But yeah, the fact that, because that was the other thing too. All those other games, Area 51 and stuff like that, you would they would tell you to like shoot outside a frame, and that's how you would reload. Time Crisis, you had to hit the pedal to go into cover,
release, and then come back up. Boom, 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 boom.
Yeah, and they evolved, where some had a button on the side, for different things. But Time Crisis in general, and I remember them having console releases for it. Now, I don't think the guns had the slide that popped back, but
it was on PS2. I remember that.
Yeah.
But it was a lot to set up.
Yes, because it came with the pedal and stuff too, even on PS2.
Yep, it came with the pedal, and then there was like a infrared receiver and all kinds of stuff you had to set up.
Oh yeah, because in those games, and again, just recently when I was at Main Event, I don't really see Time Crisis anymore. I'm sure they are still in some of the arcades, but now they've got, like I said, Jurassic Park. They've got Terminator. They've got Aliens. They've gotten so much more sophisticated. I remember when every single one was a pistol. Every single one was a pistol. Now, they've got the full freaking rifles and all kinds of stuff.
Halo's like that. The Halo game we were talking about was like that.
Yeah,
where it has everything.
Well, and a lot of them now have the where you sit down, like the Jurassic Park, the Transformers, and all that. Like you sit in, and it's a thing. But the Terminator one that's at Main Event it's like an actual rifle, and you have to its reload mechanic is you tap the magazine. Like the magazine is a button, and you tap that, and it reloads. But even outside of, arcades is where the most iconic shooting games were, but. Time Crisis came out on PS2, and you're right, it had the IR receiver and all of that you had to set up. But once we got to the Wii era, you had the Wii, you had the PlayStation Move, you had the Kinect. Those games went ham on their various shooting stuff. You had Resident Evil Umbrella Chronicles on the Wii. And remember all the goofy accessories for the Wii, and it was
yes.
What was the Wii gun called?
Did the Move not have it? The Move you could.
So the Move was called. Well, so the Move was called the sharpshooter attachment.
Yeah.
And you put the Move controller with because the light ball pointed right out at the camera, and then you had the nav controller in the back. The Wii Zapper is what the gun was called. So you had the Wii Zapper, which was like Umbrella Chronicles was a rail shooter. I feel like they had a random Zelda crossbow rail shooter game that came out with the Wii Zapper. Right?
It was you used the bow and arrow, and it was like you shot targets. It was Link's Archery something.
Yeah, hold on. I think
or Zelda's Archery or something like that.
Oh man, I can't read crossbow training is what it was called.
That's what it was. It was Link's crossbow training or something like that, isn't it?
Link's crossbow training. So you had
I do remember, because remember for a while it came with the Wii.
Yes,
it was one of them. You got that in Wii Sports.
Yeah.
So we had 1 million of them traded in.
Exactly, and the sharpshooter attachment with the PlayStation Move, Like
Killzone, right?
I remember playing that with Killzone, and it was like because the Wii Zapper you very much just held very easily, with one hand or whatever. But the sharpshooter had like a butt attachment and stuff like that, and I don't know if Kinect did anything with shooting because obviously this whole thing didn't use a controller. But of course, you look at the VR stuff now and what they have you doing. I mean, you don't even need any kind of weird plastic, empty shell attachment. You just actually, go through the motions. But and some of those VR rigs that people have are absolutely insane. My old ass can't play VR anymore. I get motion sickness. Like I had to sell my MetaQuest because I kept getting sick trying to play any of those games. But they very much and that was the thing. I feel like the Wii obviously was perfect for the rail shooters because it already had the IR sensor that came with it and all of that. But the Move, they tried to replicate it, but it was really cool to have what we loved playing at the arcade with Time Crisis and Area 51 and stuff like that, came to the house. Every time I've said Area 51, I'm like, dude, there is another one that I played so much that the name escapes me. And in talking about the Wii, it just came to mind. House of the Dead.
I remember House of the Dead. I remember playing that one.
Yeah, every time I said Area 51, I'm like, oh my God, there's another one, but I just can't think of it. And
because it was the only zombie type one.
Yeah, exactly. So, and that was another just textbook rail shooter, but
speaking of zombie ones, Walking Dead has them now. Has one.
They do, yes. And it's like the Transformers in the Jurassic Park where you pull the curtains and all that stuff. Yeah. So it's just something about those shooting games in general that were a blast in arcades, and then the fact it was in our living room. I mean, they did the same. They did the same thing with DDR with the mats and stuff like that. But I remember. I mean, and technically they did it before that with Duck Hunt because the NES had the light gun and all that. So it's almost like the gun stuff went away for a while, or it was super niche. And once we got to the Wii era, everyone wanted to go back to light guns and all that stuff. So. I hope it makes a very serious comeback, which apparently it kind of is. I guess they just did a Time Crisis on PS5, and I think there's a gun attachment, but I don't know. I feel like it would stress me out because apparently my understanding is that those apparently worked the best on CRT TVs, and I guess LED or something causes problems or something or another. But it was a good time. It was definitely a good time though. So, all right. Well, let's close out Disc of the Day and head into our save point. Well, this was one down memory lane a little bit.
Yeah, more nostalgic than anything.
Yeah, I mean, we pivoted to a little bit of modern stuff. That's the most fresh in our mind because
it kind of got everywhere. We started talking about Chinese food for a while, and
how the thing is, Jefferson Mall can't come up in discussion without us talking about sample.
That's true.
That's just kind of how it is. But no, I mean, we went back. I understand that a lot of what we talked about was very local too. So anybody who's not in Louisville is probably like, "What the hell are they talking about?" But look, some of the things we talked about I know are chains, so you very likely experienced some of them too.
Yeah, and some of them, even though they're in Louisville. Some of you all had the same experience wherever you're at. They were just had different names.
Exactly, 100%. And, like I said, now I am very much convinced that the entire reason, I feel like I'm going to have to research this now, that the entire reason Dave & Buster's and Main Event exists is because arcades back then were directed toward kids, where arcades now are very much directed toward adults.
Yeah.
I mean, so there's something.
Maybe. Well, I mean, then you can say that because a lot of them now are because it's closed down now, but you had round one as well.
Oh yeah, well, and round one is actually probably an exception. They didn't have a bar or a restaurant, but all of them now. Oh, did they? Okay.
They were a bar because after a certain point, you had to. It was like you were talking about where you had to be 18 or you had to be 21, I think.
Yeah. See, so that's the thing. I feel like I'm gonna have to research to confirm, but. Arcades back then, geared toward kids. Arcades now are very much geared toward adults. Even though kids go and have a great time, but you know what I mean. So,
yeah.
But anyway, so yeah, thank you as always. We're 36 episodes in, technically more if you include Midnight Reflections and some of the other ones. But we've been having a good time doing this, and glad, and thank you very much for always listening and tagging along with us. You can always reach out on social media in the various platforms, Discord as well, the Midnight Release Pod at gmail.com. I believe I've mentioned it before. I'm going to mention it again. We are going to try and do like a whole episode that's like Q&A related at some point in time. And these can be questions like about us specifically or anything like that, or just general topics. I've kind of got a slew already that have kind of come in, but I want to build a list to make sure it's full enough to do a whole episode for. So you can reach out to us in all those kind of various areas, if you will. And next week, I think we're going to try and do a trio episode. Now, I told you at the beginning, the quad debate episode's coming, and it is coming. But our next episode may be a trio. It may not be a full trio, but we're going to go back to movie-centric with next week's episode. So we'll be talking about movie trilogies next week. What does that look? That's like you've got the squint and you got you're thinking. Don't give yourself a migraine doing that. Because that's a lot of hard work on you to do that.
Yeah, it is. At least I can remember what I did yesterday, and I'm not 28 million years old.
Asshole. Anything else before we close it out?
Thank you.
Short, sweet, to the point. So yes, thank you all as always, and remember, some memories are worth lining up for.